It is Kieran Trippier. It is delicious! Glorious! Glorious!
Walker in there too. Luke Shaw! Harry Kane wants it played into him. He chooses Grealish instead. It's Grealish! It's Kane! I think like this has happened for a long time. Here's the overhead kick from Dyer. Palmer finds Watkins. Watkins turns! Watkins scores!
Hello and welcome back to the Gate 102 podcast. Thank you for tuning in today. I hope I find you well. I want to start by saying an apology that there was no episode last week. I had quite a few things just going on that sort of had to take priority. So unfortunately, I just didn't really have the time to release an episode. And it's funny because I actually wrote this episode and planned it all a few weeks ago, but just never got the chance to record. But it's good to be back for now, because I'll talk more about what's happening with the podcast over the next few weeks and months. But I'll talk more about that at the end, so please do stick around if you can. But yeah, regardless of that, today's game number 67, which I know will amuse some young people listening to this who might find the 6-7 thing funny. I don't really get it. I'm too old, but if you are a kid or you've got kids, you might know what I'm on about. But yeah, game number 67. Anyway, England were playing Albania at Wembley, and this was their second to last World Cup qualifier. And if England won this game, it would mean they would qualify for the Qatar World Cup. I mean, mathematically, they needed 4 points, but 3 points would do them, as the last game was against San Marino, and England's goal difference was way bigger than anyone's, so a win today would do them. And England actually played in their away kit in this game, and that's because Albania were wearing white, so it meant England were forced into wearing the blue kit, which I personally really like. It's one of my favourite England shirts, and I've actually still got it in my bedroom, like an old one. It doesn't fit me, but yeah, it's always one of my favourites, this kit, and it was nice to see them wear it at Wembley. So let's start with the team, and this was quite interesting, as England went with a back three for this game, and this was the first time in the qualifying campaign that Southgate had gone with a back three. And I think some people were a bit frustrated with the fact that when you're playing Albania, I think many people wanted to see back four with wingers, but this system was one that had worked for Southgate before. It worked against Germany in the Euros that same year. So England knew how to play it, and it showed lots of tactical flexibility from Southgate, which was always good to see. So it was Pickford in goal, a back three of Walker, Stones and Maguire. Reece James at right wing back, with Chilwell on the opposite flank at left wing back. Then it was two holding midfielders of Phillips and Henderson. I mean, we rarely saw those two players play together. They were both regulars under Southgate, but this is one of the few times they actually played together, as usually it was one of them alongside Rice in midfield. So that was an interesting combination, and one that Southgate opted to use, with Rice being unavailable. So yeah, Phillips and Henderson were the midfield duo, and in front of them was a front three of Sterling on the left, Foden on the right, and Captain Kane leading the line up front in attack. So it was a team that I don't think many were expecting, but still a lot of attacking intent. Despite some people being upset, we were playing with a back three, back five, with two defensive-minded midfielders in front, but there was still loads of attacking intent with the wingers and the wing-backs and the midfielders who could push up. So moving on to the game, England got off to a flying start. It was Harry Maguire with a really powerful header, rising above everybody and heading it into the far corner. It was a typical Maguire goal, really, as he put England ahead. Yeah, great start for England and for Maguire. But it was also vindication for Maguire, as, believe it or not, he was actually booed before the game by a small minority of fans. I mean, I say fans, a few people decided to boo Maguire before the game, because I don't really know if you can call them fans, but Absolutely terrible behaviour. I mean, the reasoning was basically Maguire wasn't playing particularly well for United at the time, and that meant a few people inside Wembley decided to boo him, which was really stupid behaviour. I mean, you don't boo any player playing for your country. I just don't think it's on. It doesn't help anyone. But to boo Harry Maguire out of everyone is just so wrong after all he'd done for his country up to that point. And Southgate was clearly livid at the boos. But again, it was a small minority. But when Maguire scored, he ran over to the England fans, put his fingers in his ears, almost trying to hit back at the people who booed him. And Maguire actually got criticised for his celebration. But I think it's fine, really. A few people boo you when you've done nothing wrong. I think you have a right to give some back, personally. So yeah, it was the eventful start for Maguire, but great that he got his goal. But great start for England. And that goal was the start of an amazing first half, really. As 18 minutes into the game, the other Harry got on the score sheet as the England captain headed home after a lovely cross from Henderson from the right. A really well-worked goal, to be honest. A great header from Kane to make it 2-0 to England. And I mentioned how Henderson got the assist for that second goal for Kane. Well, it then became the other way round for the third goal. Henderson played a nice 1-2 with Kane and then found himself through on goal with only the keeper to beat. And he slotted it into the corner with his left foot. A really nice finish from Henderson. And that was his second England goal after his first came against Ukraine back in the Euros that summer. But yeah, lovely link up between Kane and Henderson for both the second and the third goal. And England were 3-0 up just before the half-hour mark. So it was a brilliant position to be in. And if I'm honest, the first half, England were running riot. Absolutely fantastic performance. And they got the fourth goal not so long after. And it was Harry Kane with his second. A really powerful shot with his left foot. A great finish. And if you thought that was a good finish, wait till you see the fifth goal. Harry Kane scored an overhead kick to secure his hat-trick. Unbelievable goal. Like, the power to do that and the balance he showed to twist his body, then score an incredible overhead kick to finalise his hat-trick. And it just capped off what had been a fantastic first half for both Kane and England. And to be honest, Kane got the hat-trick and it was the perfect hat-trick in a way. He scored with a header, then his left foot, and then his right foot. And it was actually his fourth England hat-trick, which was an incredible achievement for anyone. And obviously that was not his last either, as you'll find out next episode. So yeah, but amazing moment for Kane. And there was a lot of talk about Kane because he wasn't particularly playing too well for Spurs at the time for his standards. He wasn't scoring as many goals, but he showed in this game why he was still a world-class talent. And yeah, overall it was the perfect first half from England. And to be honest, Albania hardly had any chances. The only sort of chance Albania had was sort of early on. Kyle Walker did a dodgy back pass to Pickford, which meant their striker was one-on-one with England's goalkeeper. But Pickford came to England's rescue. And it goes to show that even in a game where England won dominantly, everyone played their part, including Pickford, as he came to England's rescue in the first half. I mean, it was a really poor pass from Walker, but it was a great save as well. And that happened when England were 1-0 up. So if Pickford doesn't save that and it's 1-1, it's a totally different game. So like I say, it goes to show that everyone played the part. I mean, England were 5-0 up by half-time, so the game was won. And we were never really going to see the same sort of intensity or tempo in the second half. I mean, it was November, so it was an important stage of the season, so players would have wanted to conserve energy and not get injured in a game that was already won. But as you'd expect, England still dominated possession and created the better chances. The most worthy thing to mention about the second half was that it was a debut for Emile Smith-Rowe, who was playing for Arsenal at the time. coming through the ranks there at the Emirates. And he came on in the second half, and that was a special moment for him, making his England debut inside Wembley. I mean, he only got 15 minutes overall, so he couldn't really have much of an impact. But he actually started the following game, and I'll talk more about that next episode. Yeah, great to see another debutant. And Southgate also used this opportunity to play some other players who were almost on the fringe a little bit. Like I say, with England being 5-0 up, Southgate thought, let's chuck on a few players, see what they can do. So people like Tammy Abraham, Trent Alexander-Arnold, they also both got minutes, so that was good. It allowed Southgate to see players who don't always play, and that's important. I mean, last time England played Albania before this was back in March of that year in the away fixture. I know this game was in March and away from home with no fans. England won comfortably 2-0, and that was a decent scoreline. This time, England definitely played with a lot more intent and created loads more chances in this one at Wembley. So that was great to see. Overall, it was a fantastic win. I know all the goals came in the first half, so I imagine quite a few people probably switched it off in the second half. But yeah, both halves, England were really good. And this win meant that England were practically there regarding qualification for the World Cup. They were there on goal difference, like I say, but officially they needed one more point to qualify. But they were always going to get that against San Marino. And talking of San Marino, England beat them 10-0. And that's what I'll be talking about in my next episode. So, goals galore. So I'll try to fit that in under 15 minutes because obviously 10 goals. So I might not go into as much detail. But we'll see. I'll try and manage it. So yeah, that's what's coming next week, San Marino game. But before I finish, I just want to say that the San Marino game in the next episode will actually be the final episode I do for quite a while. So obviously, as I speak, we're not too far off a major tournament. England are off to the World Cup under Thomas Tuchel. And I just feel with all that talk and all the focus on the World Cup, I don't really see the point in me talking about old England friendlies and Nations League games when that's going on in modern times. Purely because people want to listen to content about modern England and the tournament, and they won't really care about old England games that are a bit irrelevant. I mean, let's be honest, no one really wants to listen to me talk about England-Hungary back in June 2022 when, we've got a major tournament going on. So, yeah, I just think it's probably best to have a break, and I won't be doing any content over the tournament and over sort of May time. So the plan is I'll stop after the San Marino game temporarily. Then when England exit the tournament, hopefully with a trophy in hand, that'd be great, wouldn't it? Then I'll pick the podcast up again where I left off. And also I've got a few things going on over the next few months, so I could probably do just a bit of time off, especially with the World Cup on as well. So yeah, just thought I'd share that with you now, and I'll repeat it again next episode. But yeah, the San Marino game will be my last episode for a few months. But I'll be back, don't worry. I'm not stopping the podcast. I love doing this. But like I said, I just don't see the point in doing it when there's a major tournament going on. And also I want to enjoy the tournament as well. Let's be honest, I've got no motivation talk about old England games when there's a major tournament going on. So yeah, I just think that makes sense. But yeah, anyway, thank you for listening to the podcast today. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully it's maybe brought back memories or remind you of a few things. So yeah, really appreciate tuning in. And until next episode, take care of yourselves, and I'll speak to you soon.